everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #1. This is a new book from DC Comics. The Monsterverse is finally over at DC Comics. But let's talk about our creative team here. This is written by Brian Buccellato with art by Christian Duce, colors by Luis Guerrero, letters by Comic Craft. What is this book all about? Well, let's talk about it. The cataclysmic crossover event of the year is here as the DC Universe clashes with Legendary's Monsterverse in Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Clark Kent is enjoying a night off with a very important dinner planned with his girlfriend Lois Lane when the entire city shudders under the weight of the monstrous Godzilla who emerges from the bay. What started as a routine clash between the Justice League and the Legion of Doom takes a dangerous turn when the wall between worlds is breached, with Godzilla, Kong, and the Monsterverse emerging on DC's Earth. What ensues will be a brawl of unprecedented scale and destruction from acclaimed writer Brian Buccellato, who's worked on Injustice, and the best-selling artist Kristen Duce from Batman Fortnite Zero Point. This is their story. Wow. What what a fantastic crossover. I have been waiting for this event. Now a few things that the premise and the synopsis does clear up. In this universe, Superman is not married to Lois Lane yet, so we know that this is not in the main DC continuity, right? Because currently they're married, they have John, all those little things. So this is definitely another universe, but nonetheless, these universes shall clash. I really enjoyed this first issue. I think the the surprise comes very quickly. Like you'll see when we get into the preview pages, this happens just as the synopsis really told us. So Brian Buccellato is not wasting any time. We're getting right into it. Of course, we have to go through a few of the setup pieces of like, how did the monsters get here? What is the Justice League? What can they do about it? Who even is responsible for everything that's happening? This all is explained in issue 1, and I'm very happy that it is because this is a very efficient comic which really sets up the series, the rest of the series, very strongly. Right? It's a very well cemented first issue to build, the rest of this world. So very excited to see this. I think there was a slight omission of a hero in costume, not so much in character, but in costume. I think another thing that Brian Buccellato really does really well is that in this dinner, Clark is he's hoping to propose to Lois Lane before all this happens. That's kind of what the setup is. We'll look at that when we get into the preview pages. But he also really explores how each of the member, like just the interpersonal relationships of the Justice Leaguers, I think is really fun. So it's really always interesting to see how they relate to each other on a more personal level, and how each creator kind of brings those relationships in a little bit of a different way. Even aside from all the superhero stuff that we're going to see, we get to see some really cool villains as well. As you know, the Legion of Doom is heavily involved in this. But man, oh man, let's take a look at some of the art because Christian Duce are like really nailing it here. I put this page on its own because the next page is the big double spread reveal. But as you can see, Lois and Clark having dinner on top of the Daily Planet, about to pop the question, and boom, what happens in like play the Godzilla theme, right? Dum 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 dum. Here we go. Big Boy just shows up out of the bay. What a cool design. I love it. I love how he has the big spikes, the long tail. Just looks fantastic. I can't wait for more people to just kind of get into this book. And then we do take a little bit of time back and we build up, right? How did we get here from this point? And this is where we explore all the little relationships between the team. The book also very quickly and efficiently and just like very subtly. There's nothing being thrown out here very like that doesn't really fit in, right? These are very organic revelations of the roster of the league and this world, what they look like, a little bit of their character. So, yeah, this is a perfect book. If you haven't been reading DC Comics in a while, This is just a fun place to get into. And if you've been reading for a long time, I think you'll feel right at home. Of course, this book has so many amazing variants. You will be there's just so many things that you'll see. I'm very excited to get into the rest of that. There are a couple of variants that I pre-ordered. They're called the Roar variants. They actually open up and make a noise. So hopefully I'll do a video for that on the channel. So stay tuned for that. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Catwoman number 58. This is the next part in the Gotham War event, part 5. But let's talk about the creative team before we get into the book. This is written by Tini Howard with art by Nico Leon, colors by Veronica Gandini. In this issue, Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War, part 5. Every general puts their plans into play as Selina Kyle's Cat's Cradle threatens to pull the city apart. Red Hood fundamentally changed after the events of the last issue. Go check out our latest review for the Batman series. Um, Jason struggles to find his new role in this broken city. Claws fly, secrets are told, and hearts are on the line in the penultimate chapter of the Gotham War event. Yeah, so there's only a couple more issues after this. That the book tells you what you need to read afterwards, but man, oh man, uh, what a mess we've gotten ourselves into. And I think, you know, I gotta be honest, Batman is to blame for all this. Um, I really like kind of the duality of this event as we kind of get to see it from both Batman and Catwoman's point of view. I think Tini Howard really captures Selina's voice, and along with the art team, just really giving us what it should look like. But this issue picks up immediately after the events of the last Batman issue in Part 4, so it's a great continuity. But yeah, this issue really explores what's going on Catwoman's side of the world. On this, we know what Batman's been doing. We know that he's really messed up, and now they kind of have to come to head to that. But yeah, I love seeing the relationship between between Bruce and Selina being explored here, as Catwoman finds out everything that he's been doing, and whether it's a facial expression or Selina jumping off a roof or an explosion, I think Nico Leon and Veronica Gandini really capture the emotions on the page very well. Very dynamic action, and just really cool stylized designs that I really like. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. And here we see Catwoman going onto the roof. Like I said, picking up right where Part 4 left off. Bruce is in the roof. He's vulnerable. She's really the only one that gets to see him like this a lot of the time, but very quickly has to recover. He knows that he has to move forward, and everything is being unfolded here and untold. And like I said, really cool explosions. I love the dynamic shots, just really interesting angles. You get a little bit of romance because, of course, you have to with these two. Um, and we also learn more about the motivations of the true villains. If you've been paying attention, if you've been following all this stuff, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Here, let me go back to the preview art. On this last panel, you get to see that Selina is finally confronting Vandal Savage and his daughter. So, yeah, we are pretty much getting close to the end game of this, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. I really have been enjoying the story. I will probably revisit the whole thing once it's all completed because I know there's things that I've missed. I know there's little details that I would love to check out again once everything is told and to see how Tini Howard and Chip Zdarsky really set all this stuff up. So if you read this already, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. We have a look at a few of the variant covers you can purchase at the end of the video. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for J. Garrick, The Flash, #1. This is a new book from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team here. This is written by Jeremy Adams with art by Diego Olortegui, Luis Guerrero on colors, Steve Wands on letters, and a beautiful cover by Jorge Corona and Sarah Stern. We also have some variant covers, which you can look at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. In this book, Jay and his long-lost daughter race side by side in the present day. Spinning out of the events of Stargirl, The Lost Children, and Justice Society of America, Jake Garrick is reunited with his long lost daughter Judy. After being pulled through the timeline, Judy returns to a world where she and her dad aren't the only ones that ride the lightning. But is there enough space for her and Jay and Joan's life? And can they keep up with their teenage daughter and make up for lost time? So I will say one of the things that made this a little bit of a tough read was that I feel like you did need to know a little bit of what happened in the previous books. I didn't read Lost Children, and I also have not caught up on Justice Society of America. But I wanted to check this out, right? I think it's important to see, our books new reader friendly? Are they welcoming? I also really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that Jeremy Adams has been doing on The Flash, with some of the previous stories, like the 1 Minute War and stuff like that. So wanted to keep following that. Now, Jay Garrick's not a character that I've read a lot. And like I said, it's a little bit tough to pinpoint where exactly. Like sometimes Jake Garrick is a little older, sometimes he's not. He's a little younger. There's many different versions out there, but I think Jeremy Adams definitely does attempt to get you caught up on everything. There's obviously only so much we could put on the page, especially on a flash book where I feel like you don't want to have too much dialogue. You want to have a lot more of the action tell you and guide that, which I will say Olategi's art really accomplishes that. Like I really love looking at some of these pages. Uh, let's take a look here. We see here Jay running with his daughter as they're kind of like, I just love how kinetic these pages feel. They arrive at the dam, and of course there's dynamite all over the place. And just I put these next three pages together because I felt like they really played, like I love the combination of the smaller panels at the top, big panel at the bottom, to show you that the real big impact of these movements. And then also, back the pacing of these pages is amazing, all the way leading up to the explosion, where sometimes even the Flash is not fast enough. But what do they do from there? So, yeah, really cool stuff. The story really picks up even from there. Uh, but like I said, it was a little bit difficult for me to grasp everything that was going on, um, only because I was not exactly familiar with, all the situation, how we even got here, and all that stuff. So, but overall, I think if you're caught up on all those things, I think you'll really enjoy this book. This is something I'll probably trade weight and just kind of get caught up on everything else and then read that afterwards. Because, like I said, I do enjoy Jeremy Adams as a writer, and Diego Olartegi, I think did a bang up job with the issue. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here, and it does leave in a bit of a cliffhanger. But I think it would have a lot more impact if I was fully caught up on everything. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Nightwing 107. This is a new book from DC Comics, but let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. Nightwing, The Crew of the Cross, Part 2. This is written by Tom Taylor with art by Stephen Byrne, colors by Adrian Lucas, letters by Wes Abbott, and a beautiful cover of a swashbuckling Nightwing by Bruno Redondo. We also have some variants that you can see at the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for those. In this issue, jump on board. Yo ho, a pirate's life is not for Nightwing. When Nightwing's investigation into who left the vault under his name leads him to discover a mysterious group behind the hold, his past comes back to haunt him in the form of the hold's leader. So yeah, there was a big reveal at the end of 106. So make sure to go back and read that one. So this is not a good jumping on point. Go back and read the last issue. At least get in on the beginning of the arc. I will say that. Also, it's very weird to see Rick so much in this series. I didn't read much of that in the Nightwing run, so it's definitely a little bit jarring to go back and visit that, but a lot of the stuff is kind of I feel like it's being retconned and added as part of the story. So let's talk about some of the art here. Stephen Byrne is really good at what he's doing. I don't even mind the rig design here. Like it definitely, I'm glad that they have a different artist from the main artist on the series from Bruno Redondo's work, because some of these flashback, I like that. Yeah, it looks like, it looks like Dick Grayson, but it's a little off because it's supposed to be someone else, and he's remembering all this, and it's always different when you do the, when you look at memories, it's always different. So it actually makes sense to have a different artist for this arc and everything that we're doing. And yeah, we get into it. We're gonna see a lot of cool pirate stuff. There's a lot of real fun gags because I think Tom Taylor just loves putting like jokes out there in the books, and of course, there's a lot of really fun pirate stuff. So if you were looking for a swashbuckling buckling adventure, which I think Nightwing is very well suited for, or maybe not, as you will read in this issue. Uh, so yeah, I'm expecting to be surprised by all these mysteries. As you can see, I put on my Nightwing hat for the reviews for the day. So very excited to see where all this goes. If you have read this issue, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. I highly, highly recommend you go back to 106, at least 106, if you're not reading the series, and jump on in from there. Because otherwise, you will be a little bit confused. But this is still just a really cool. I really like where the arc is going. I like it a little bit. Yeah, I like it more than what we had been doing in the past few issues. Prior to this, I will say that much. I think this is just a fun romp, and that's what I like sometimes in my comic books. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Superman number 7. This is the oversized 850 anniversary issue. So, in the legacy numbering, this is issue 850 of the Superman series. So, it is an oversized 48 pages of story for this Dawn of DC title. So, let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Joshua Williamson, and we have multiple artists. We have Gleb Melnikov. We also have Edwin Galman. We also have the team of Dan Jurgen on pencils and Norm Ratman on inks, all colored by Alejandro Sanchez. So, in this anniversary oversized issue celebrating the Men of Steel and his legacy, a special oversized issue celebrating Superman. That's kind of repetitive. DC, why'd you write it like that? Since the start of Superman 1 and the dawn of DC, a mystery has been brewing in Metropolis. Now that mystery's secret and are unleashed, and with startling revelation that will set up a massive story in 2024, the chain continues as Superman battles against an overpowered new menace who wants to destroy Metropolis. Kind of. I think there's a lot more motives there. Superman must decide if he's willing to follow Lex's tragic order to take the chain down, and Lex Luthor is visited by a blast from his past, one that will impact his future forever. So that's what we have multiple artists. One of the Gleb focuses mainly on the current storyline with the chain, but then we also visit Lex. We also see Dan Jurgens doing a little bit of flashback sequences, kind of coloring in the world and just kind of telling us what's going on with the story. So this chain story has been so interesting. I'm really excited for whatever they're setting up. I think Joshua Williamson has been doing such a bang up job with this series. I implicitly trust him to just kind of give me a really cool Superman story. And as I said in the last issue, uh, Melnikov's art, like there's something really endearing to me about those like big, bulky characters. Here, let's take a look at some of the preview art. I believe I only have Melnikov's art, but I think if you read comics long enough, you know what Dan Jurgens can do, and also Edwin Galman. But yeah, I just love these like the you know the wide chins, big muscles, like very reminiscent of like some of the stuff I read in the early aughts, which is when I really got into comics. Before I started collecting, I was just kind of reading comics all over the place wherever I could, and those are some of those stories. And yeah, we have um, we have a lot of stuff going on in Metropolis. Perry's running for major. Uh, Perry's running for mayor. Lois is in charge of the planet, the Daily Planet, that is. And then, of course, we have the appearance of the Chained, and just such a menacing character. I'm really excited to learn more about this character. Why was he locked up? To me, he still looks a little bit like Nicolas Cage. So I don't know if that was the intent or not. Hey, but we are where it is what it is. We are where we are. So there's a lot of action here, and then of course, unraveling the mysteries as more enemies shows up to like try to become part of this and just really take down Superman and everything that he's built in Metropolis so far. So yeah, I don't know where the story's going, but I'm definitely on board for this. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman Superman World's Finest number 20. This is the new book from DC Comics, and oh boy, I can't wait to get into it. So let's talk about the creative team first. This is written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora, so the original team of the series is back. Colors by Tamara Von letters by Steve Wands. This is the beginning of a new arc, so if you haven't been keeping up with the book, I think this is overall a good place to jump on. It gives you enough stuff, although you do need a little bit of David knowledge. We'll get into that. But this is Heir to the Kingdom, Chapter 1, The Golden Calf, where we're going to revisit the series Kingdom Come. So let's get into it. Mark Waid returns to the world of Kingdom Come, the return of Boy Thunder, who we met in a previous arc, not the one right before this, but a previous arc in the same series, to find and save Superman's former protege. The world's finest duo bridges the dimensional gulf between their world and Earth with a jaded Superman, a broken Batman, and a war-hungry Wonder Woman. The world of Kingdom Come. Now, I guess the first question a lot of people will have is, do you need to have read Kingdom Come to really understand what's going on in this issue? I don't think you need to. I think if you have, you'll be greatly rewarded. But Mark Waid is such an efficient writer. He really manages to like pack everything in, like all the little, like the big morsels you need for the story, they're in here, which was something that was really enjoyable. I love. There's a few first pages that I'll show you some preview art where we get kind of like a history of like the DC multiverse in one of the coolest ways that I've seen it ever represented. Like it's incredible stuff. I think Dan Mora and Mark Waid just they have such a great chemistry between them. So let's look at some preview art so we can keep talking about this book. Just check out these 3 pages as we get everything set up. This isn't even one of the main characters in the book. This is the Flash, telling us all about how he, traverses the multiverse. What is the multiverse? What's going on? And you get so many little Easter eggs of so many cool things. You get to see some of Earth 2. You get to see a little bit of some of the Elseworld stories. You get to see, I think these Supermen, the blue and black and the blue and red Superman, are from like Convergence. You get to see the animated series Batman. I can make a whole video just trying to pinpoint all these little Easter eggs. You get to see the DC versus vampires. Just the Red Sun, of course. And so Flash explains all this, and then we get to the panel where he finds the Kingdom Come universe, and that's where things get really kicked off. Now, I love how this last panel of his eye, how it really sets off the alarm. Like there's something big about to happen, and I think Dan Moore is really good at showing us there by just focusing on the eye. Like after everything he's seen, the Flash, this is the one thing that gives him pause. That is amazing storytelling. And then we get into it. We catch up in Gotham City. The Flash gets Superman and Batman up to speed. Of course, we get into superhero shenanigans, but Superman has been upset and regrets that he wasn't able to help David more. David, who is the Boy Thunder, who we have been hinted at. I won't even talk about who he's been hinted at, like supposed to be. But I think if you read Kingdom Come, you know what's kind of coming. No pun intended. But this was just. It is such a rewarding read for longtime readers of DC, but I think it's still a very interesting read. Like I'm trying to place myself in the shoes of somebody that's never read any of this. I think the team still manages to highlight the importance of some of these events to bring some gravity to it, even if you haven't read Kingdom Come, which I highly recommend. It's such a great series. Like, and it's only 3 issues. They are oversized issues, but I think it's 3 or 4 issues. They are prestige size format. But man, it is one of the most reprinted books in DC Comics history for a reason, right? So highly recommended. But yeah, Mark Waid, Dan Mora, probably my favorite tag team duo in superhero comics at the time. Like, I'd have to go through the list of everyone, maybe Chip and Jorge Jimenez. But man, these guys are consistent, and like, not that they're not, but Jorge Jimenez does have a rotating cast. So yeah, this is just pound for pound. I think Dan Moore and Mark Waid, maybe my favorite tag team in writing at the moment. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know who other tag teams, as we'll call them, who are the world's finest in the world of comic book writing. So yeah. Also, let me know if you read this issue. Did you enjoy it? Are you caught up? Have you read Kingdom Come? Maybe I'll do a little video on Kingdom Come to get people caught up on the story as well. So, if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe. Stay tuned because we have some variant covers at the end of the video. Also, stay tuned to the channel. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye.